guys, so I have the heads ready to go. Well, not ready to go. I've got the heads here ready to start taking measurements and see if they need to go to the machine shop. So today I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking measurements to see what all is going to need work. I already ordered my bearings from Euroamp and have them, and all of the journals on the crank looked okay except for one from the conrods, and I thought when I would mess with it I could kind of flake it off with my fingernail, so I thought it was going to flake off and everything was going to be okay, but now I'm not completely sure of that. So I'm going to see if I can get that cleaned up today, start taking all the measurements of the crank, and check the deck on the block, check the heads, and check my clearances, because these are used heads off of one of these trucks, so I don't know if they put all the tappets back in the way they're supposed to go or anything like that, so I've got to check all that stuff out. So that's what I'm going to work on today. I'm getting ready to run into the shop. We'll check stuff out. So these are the new heads. The pictures looked a lot better. I'm guessing these probably sat for a while between when they were listed and when I bought them. The intake cams don't look bad, but for some reason the exhausts have some surface rust on them, so I'm going to see if this stuff will clean up. Or I still have the exhaust cams off the old heads that looked okay. If I need to, I might swap those over and see if I can match tappets up to get my clearances right. So just the cylinder number 4 lobes are the ones with the surface rust on them, it looks like. So here's something different. This is the original tappet. This is the new tappet. This head is out of a 2013. Apparently the new ones have some kind of coating that is wearing on it, but the old ones don't have any of whatever that coating is on it. So here's this head, everything's taken out of it. I'm not sure how much wear is too much wear on these tappets. I'm gonna have to look into that because, like I said, my old ones didn't have this coating on it, so you couldn't see that there was wear on them. So I'm not sure, that design change might have been for the 2013 model year also. The intakes, they're like a hydraulic variable tappet, but the exhaust are just a normal tappet that you have to adjust with different sizes in here. So these are matched to the cam and to the valves. So I'm gonna have to see if I use the other valve. I'm gonna have to see if I've got the right tappets to set this right or not. The journals all look okay. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to clean up the camshafts. So I'll have to see what those look like once I've worked on those for a little bit. So I just looked inside the intake ports here, and those things are pretty gunky. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the valves. I would say this thing's probably going to a machine shop to be reconditioned, but I'd rather pull the valves and check them out first. So here's the bottom of that head. Valves don't look the greatest, but they look like they're sealing up okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up and see how straight it is. So our specification here is cylinder head maximum permitted warp in millimeter is 0.08 millimeters overall. Over 150 millimeter area, it's 0.05, and over a 25 by 25 millimeter area, it's 0.02. I don't know where my metric feeler gauges are, so I'm using 0.03, which is just, or I'm sorry, I'm using the 0.03 feeler gauge, which is just under the 0.08 millimeters. Just to see what my clearance is on that. right, so everything is, any warpage is under 3 thousandths, which means what that would be like 0.075 millimeters. So that means everything on this head is straight. I have not checked the valve seats yet. This one's got rust on it, so it's making me a little nervous. I'm gonna check to see if they hold, well, I can't check that because there's no, it's gonna leak through the, where the injectors were. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how I can check to see if these leak any fluid if I put them in the valves without dumping it in the top. So this was one of the other problems. This is the oil valve that controls the intake, lift, and duration. This was packed completely full of metal shavings on the old engine, and that was the first time that I realized that it was a head problem and not a problem in the lower end. And it's good that I have that because my other one is junk. Also, if you can see it, there's a little filter on the end of these, and I haven't seen it, but a couple people told me that these filters can get plugged up and cause you timing problems also. And I don't really see how they come apart, but they said that you can change these filters out on them. So I might try to break that down on one of my old ones just to see how that comes apart later so that I can know how that works in the future. So here's that new intake camshaft. These look bad on camera. They're actually polishing up okay, so I think I'll be able to polish this all out of it. Trying to see what my camshaft journal, so 26.965 plus or minus 0.01 millimeter is my journal diameter, and then the bearing diameter is 27.01 plus or minus 0.01. I'm not too worried about these. I think they're going to polish out fine. I'm more worried about the exhaust cams, and I'll show you those here in just a second. So here's the passenger side head right off the bat. I'm looking at this, and the exhaust cams on this one look a lot better. I don't see any of the surface, well, okay, there's a little bit right there, but nothing like the other one. The exhaust cam on this one looks pretty much the same. Wonder if maybe these are made of different grade of steel, and maybe the intake valves are less likely to rust than the exhausts are, or maybe it's just all the carbon and stuff that might blow by and get on them. I don't know. But I'll go ahead and start tearing this one down and see if the head itself is in good a shape as the other one was. So yeah, these journals, the cams, the cam lobes, everything on this head looks a lot better than what the driver side head was. There's just a little bit on that one, but it looks like it's pretty super. Yeah, it about came off just with my finger. So I'm pretty happy with these camshafts. I'll get these pulled out and see what the journals underneath them look like. So I just flipped this thing over. These look a little grody, but it's all just coming off with my hands. None of it really looks serious, but I don't know if you can tell, that is the broken off dowel from the engine block. So I'm gonna have to get that out because that is raised up about 50 thou or so. Otherwise, the actual deck of this head looks cleaner than the other one, but there's gonna be some more work around the valves to get this one cleaned up, I think. All right, so this one's not quite as perfect as the other head was. That's a 3 thou feeler gauge. I can't find my good metric feeler gauges, and these are okay. These are stars. Okay, so these are good feeler gauges. They just only go down to 3 thou, which is just under 0.08, which is what our tolerance is here. So these are all in spec. I don't know exactly what they are, but I'm using a feeler gauge that's smaller than what the maximum allowance is, and it's not clearing them, so we're okay. So I'm not sure. There you can see it. These intakes are pretty gunky too. I'm not sure if you were able to see it on the other head very well, but these are about the same condition. So I'm gonna see. I don't know if I'll get the stuff to try to walnut blast these, or I don't know, maybe I'll send the, I don't know. These heads will probably end up going to a machine shop anyway, even though I know they're all in tolerance, just to have the valve train torn down and done. Just because they're going to be able to check those seats and stuff a lot better than I am. I still haven't really thought about how you would test these. I mean, I guess I could put the plugs back in them and go get a couple of old injectors off the shelf and stick in there to seal up. But normally I would flip these things over, fill the bowls with gas, and see if any of them leak out. And I can't really do that because it's a direct injection engine. So if anybody has any ideas for that, let me know. So this is the oil pressure test cap. So see, it's just like the normal Land Rover oil filter cap, but it has a brass fitting here that you could screw in a oil pressure tester to see what your actual oil pressure is. I don't know that I trust this one that much, but maybe it's possible that we could find a way to build one of these that you can put an actual sensor on here. Maybe like Bluetooth or something like that, to where you could actually real time see what your oil pressure is going down the road or something. Or even just put like some kind of, I don't know, some kind of alarm or something like that on it. I don't know. Just something I was thinking about the other day when I was looking at these. It'd be kind of nice to actually have something to warn us about oil pressure on these things. So this is a carrier bearing for the drive shaft. That's actually for the LR3. That thing has like 240,000 miles on it, and it's needed this for a while. Which this is a really easy, well, okay, not easy. This is a cheap fix to an expensive problem on the LR3s, LR4s, and the 06 to 13 Range Rover Sports. Then I got the bearings. So I got the kit with the thrust washers. I'll probably go through and just check these against the ones that came out of the engine. Main bearing and conrod bearings. These are marked for the 508 PS. I'm assuming these are the same. But I'm going to compare all of these to the ones that came out of it, because they have the graded system. They do kind of what Volkswagen and Audi do. Just a minute. So Land Rover does kind of what Volkswagen and Audi do. They have graded bearings, graded cranks, and graded conrods. And when they do these things in the factory, they get everything ground, and then they go through and they grade them with a color coding system and mark the cranks for the journal diameters. And then you go through and you select different bushing or different bearings that are color coded to fit in the ballpark of that. They still check clearances, it says, but that's just kind of the quick way that they do it. If you look at these, I really can't tell what color those were originally, and they don't really clean up. And I couldn't find the colors at all on my crank. So that's the way that they do these. I know that there's I can't find the actual information, but AI searches tell me that there was a plus or minus 0.04 tolerance on each different grade of bearings. So hopefully these will fit okay, and I don't have to keep buying different sets of bearings hoping to get my clearances on the oil clearance right on the journals, because that would be a pain And that would get pretty expensive pretty quickly if I've got to go through different sets of bearings to get that set right. So I'm not going to do that tonight because it's getting pretty late already, but that's something I'll do later, is just kind of compare the old to the new. Now that I know what my heads look like, the heads themselves are in a lot better shape than I was afraid they would be in. That one exhaust cam I'm a little worried about, but I have 2 good exhaust cams, so I'm not, I can swap them around if I need to, and I think I should have enough tappets to get the clearance right. The intake valves definitely need cleaned, so I probably will end up sending these out to the machine shop anyway, even though I don't think they need decked. I'll have them check. I might have them, I don't know. I'll see what they say, see what their opinion is on it. Heads aren't my thing. Next thing I'm probably going to do is start tearing into the block. Take my clearances on, just do a straight edge test on the deck to see if it needs any work. I think in the last video I said I was planning on getting ARP studs from Velocity AP. I might still end up doing that, but I'm talking to another company that builds kits that do like 6.0 Power Stroke stud kits and stuff like that. If this, again, this is the naturally aspirated, it's like a 375 horse engine. It's bigger than the older engines, but this is not making near the power that the supercharged 5.0s made or anything like that. I don't think spending $800 on a set of studs for this makes sense. I think there's a lot of other stuff that could do the job. The problem is that the only place that you can get anything to put in this truck is Velocity AP's ARP kit. I couldn't even find the studs individually from ARP, and I can't get anybody to answer me on it. So it'd be kind of nice to replace these very insubstantial feeling bolts with studs without having to spend that kind of money on it. So if I hear back from them, I sent them a bunch of specs for those bolts and dimensions for the block and the journal, or the block and the caps today. So hopefully I hear back from them on that. And even if it's just that they'll, I don't know, I'd like them to be able to offer something that everybody can order from them, because they do a lot of odd, like they had some old like Datsun and old Volkswagen engine studs and stuff like that. So they do some stuff that is off the wall that's small enough market that they're still interested in that. Hopefully there's enough market for this that they'd be interested in it. So that's probably going to be what I do next, is start taking all my dimensions on the block and the crank. And that will kind of be, that'll probably be what takes up the rest of my time until I can get a machine shop to check out the heads and see. So I ordered those bearings. There is a spot on my crank here on, I think that's cylinder number 5 or maybe number 4, that if you could see that, it got a little bit of metal in the bearing. When I was messing with it at first, it was flaking off with my thumbnail, so I thought that's going to clean up just fine. And now I've gotten to that, and I can't get it to just flake off like it was earlier, so now it might need ground. And of course, now I've already bought the bearings that are standard size. And the reason I didn't buy the Kings in the first place is because they only had the oversized bearings. Now I might need to go down a 1/4 of a millimeter anyway. But I think I'll probably still use the Euro amp bearings, just because I don't know that I can get those. If I need to get a couple of different sets to kind of mix and match to get my clearances right, I can do that. I don't know how precise those are going to be yet. And I think that's it for tonight. I've got a lot of other stuff that I need to do, but it's all stuff that if I get started on it right now, I'm going to feel compelled to get it done, and I'm going to spend all night out here, and I don't really want to do that tonight. So that's the update for today. I'll get information out on the heads and see who can do the work on it. I know a couple people around here do it, but I've not had them do anything for me, so I'll see who's interested in it. Thanks, guys.